رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي امري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. After listening to the art of living, now it's time for the art of making money. So now we have to be careful that I'm not going to teach you how to make money. You are more smarter than me. But we will see what happening to our money, what we are sending back home. The topic itself is, as the headlines is well known, the mega rupee slide. I don't think that anybody sitting here, he don't know what happened to the rupee. Everybody knows that very well. But there are some issues related with the rupee. Why rupee is falling, what's wrong with rupee, what's the value of the rupee and how it's going to fare in future and all these things. These are the questions we'll try to seek today the answers. Today's presentation will be a little bit of more of an education, an analysis and some information. And I will try my best to be very generic and I will avoid to use the hard economical term and to be in a very low level so that the message is passed on very clearly. Let's see. First, I would like to show this photo which shows currently what's happening to our rupee. This is the way rupee is handling itself now. So it makes sense to have this photo on board. Let's move forward. Dear brothers, today's presentation I have divided into some introduction we will see because this financial market and the currency market, it has some terminologies. I would like you all to understand that before we move forward. So I will just touch base with that. Then we will see the fact and then we will see the economic system where the rupee is operating and the global economical system where it is affecting the Indian economy. And then we will come later on specifically what happened to the rupee. And then we will have our conclusion. So let's move. Brothers and sisters, when it comes to foreign currency, every country represents their own currency and it has an intrinsic value which is set by the central bank. The intrinsic value means the worth of that currency. It is set by the central bank. Then later on it is freely traded in the international markets. Theoretically, it is freely traded, but central bank manages the rate of that rupee. And this foreign currency market, when I am telling foreign currency market, it is the rupee when it is traded with the outside world. In India, the rupee doesn't matter. You can buy anything with the rupee, you can buy, sell and convert rupee to whatever goods and services you need. But the impact happens to rupee in the foreign currency market when export-import happens, when investment outside or investment inside India happens. That conversion rate is called foreign currency. That exchange rate is normally shown by this US dollar is slash INR. This term, if you will see this, every time you will see this in the newspapers and the TV, and with a standard terminology in the market, all the rates are quoted against the dollar. Like $1 is equal to how many rupees. So bearing few currencies like Euro, GBP, Great Britain pound and Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar, rest of the currencies are quoted like this. That means for $1 you will get 65 rupees. Let me put it more simplistically. This means what? It means one Obama can beat 65 Manmohan Singh. And to beat one Obama, you need 65 Manmohan Singh. Now, pay attention here. 2 years back, this was 45, 47. That means Obama was more healthy or Manmohan Singh was more weaker. So the foreign exchange market works like this. Assume that nothing happened to Obama. Obama is very strong as it is. But the health of Manmohan Singh deteriorates. So what happened? Then Obama can beat more Manmohan Singh. But now imagine Obama remains the same, but Manmohan Singh took too much protein, too much vitamins and his health becomes more stronger. So what will happen? Instead of 65 Manmohan Singh, it will be like 40 Manmohan Singh can beat one Obama. Exactly like this, the whole economical system in the world runs. So each and everything is related to each and other things. So the American economy, if it is doing very well, the dollar will become strong, theoretically. But if Indian economy, American economy remains the same, but Indian economy becomes more bad, then the rate changes here. Because the rupee will depreciate, theoretically I am talking about. This is the way the whole financial system works. Let's move forward. This is the basic thing. When rupee $1 gives you 65, then 70, then 80, it means rupee is going down, rupee value is going down. But when $1 give you 65 or 50 or 40 or 35, that means rupee is becoming stronger or the value of dollar is going down. So this is very relative. This is the chart which I think all the NRIs will love to see. None of the NRIs sitting here will think that this chart should reverse. I think I can speak on behalf of you all that everybody would like this chart to go down into below this stage and never comes up. So that's what happened. We are here to talk on this subject because of this, what happened to the rupee. Specifically, you can see this chart shows a lot of stories here. We will see further later on. But let me quickly tell you, on May 13, the rupees were somewhere here, and within 1 month, it crashed more than 24%. More than 24% of a country. That means what? That means the Indian economy becoming so bad in 1 month only that it lose value 24%. And now here in the last 2 years, if I will go back from this point till last 2 years, it is more than around 50%. Indian economy lose value more than 50%. Now this is one of the issue with the currency market, because this currency market is all paper market related with interest rate, related with money supply and confidence. Your economy is normally an actual economy, is an economy which is like manufacturing, engineering, export, import. It's a different economy. But this currency issue, this drags the whole economy either up or down because of some reasons which we will see. Now I hope nobody would like this chart to move from their eyes. Everybody would like to see again and again this chart. Let's move forward. Now rupee is how much? 1 KD is equal to 222 or something like this, right? Today's rate. Okay. See, this is what happened in the last 2 years. INR, this is the rupee against dollar. It lose 53% from 45 to 69. It's almost touched to 70. From 45 to 69 in the last 2 years. In the last 4 months, it lose 28%. Only because of the currency rate. From 54, it fall to 69. So fast, it never happens. It can mess up the whole economy. It can destroy the whole economy. And almost it did. How, when this happens, what was the situation of our Prime Minister and our Finance Minister P. Chidambaram? I have a clip. I just wanted to show this was literally happened with them. Can you just let's watch this 1.5 minute clip. What happened with our Prime Minister and Finance Minister? Go back. Take it back from starting. Yeah. Drag it. Yes. Okay. This is not a cartoon. This is really the situation happened with Manmohan Singh and the finance minister P. Chidambaram. They couldn't do anything for the falling rupee. They were just running from pole to pole, pole to pole, but they couldn't save the rupee. Let's move forward. Why? Now, this is the fact. We saw what happened to the rupee. There is a global story behind the rupee, which created the rupee on a path of depreciation. And this global impact worked very strong, very hard. We will see, I will bring some of the issues here and then we will see, and then we will relate it to rupee. The global impact is the US economy. Basically 5 years back, US economy became very bad and the US government realized that that economy is going out of the hand and they came with a lot of solutions, lot of things, and one of the biggest solution, what they felt that economy became very down and depressed, they thought to put money into the economy, pump more money in the economy, pump more money in the economy, keep pumping, so that what will happen, this money will keep the interest rate down and will make others to get the money like at a very low interest rate and invest. And then they will keep investing and the economy will keep booming. So what the Federal Reserve, the American central bank, what they did? They did this. This is the Central Bank of America. This is the American economy. Okay, they are giving a dose of called quantitative easing. You might have seen this word, quantitative easing. It's a new term coined last 5 years back, which we call the economic term and the financial term. Whenever you take the newspaper, you will see QE1, QE2, QE3. So this is quantitative easing. What that means, this is the American economy is so bad that the central bank, they just pump money inside it. They pump money. How much? Earlier it was $600 billion. Now today, every month they buy 85 billion US dollars bonds from the market. They are pumping the money. This is one type of quantitative easing, but they have different instruments, which I will not bring here because it will be very sophisticated to know. But in the generic terms, they are just pumping more liquidity, more money in the market so that economic will be revived. Now this is having a big impact. What is the impact of this? How it works? This quantitative easing, the Federal Reserve, they buy the mortgage securities, treasuries from the banks. They lend to the banks, okay, and the banks lend to the investors. So the impact is what? The impact is them to lower the interest rate, like something there, the banks and investor, the big investor in the bank, they invest something in the bond and other market, which is safe investment. So by this, what they do, the central bank take the safe investment out from the economy, almost out, and they compel the investors to go for risky assets such as stock market, such as gold, such as commodities and other stuff, which is risky assets, so for higher returns. So what the investor do, they have the money, the bank have the money, they want to deploy this money somewhere to earn the returns. So what they do, they know that the safe investment is not available, so they pump the money in the stock market and they pump the money in the gold market or other commodities market. And that's what, after doing this from the last 5 years till yesterday, what is the impact? Let me show you the impact. I am talking about the global impact of this. See, this is the American stock market. From the last 5 years, when they started the first QE, American stock market, S&P rose 42%. Imagine this. Then the market started coming down. Then again the Federal Reserve, the central bank came, they pump more money in the American economy. Again the market moves up, the stock market moves up, because why? There is more money available. So investors keep investing in the risky assets for higher returns. And then again the operation twist, then again the QE3. All this from where, see, the S&P, the stock market moved from 700 to now the latest is around 1600 plus. This is S&P. This is the pure impact of the money being the liquidity and the quantitative easing. Now imagine, it's a common sense that American economy is not doing well. Okay, American economy is like this. American economy is like this on the bed. Can the stock market go up? with this situation a common sense. But see what happened to the stock market with this quantitative easing. The stock market is moving up, simply moving up. Now another, maybe a lot of you may be not aware of a stock market is in America, but this is not only American market, the global market, all going up. Maybe this chart everybody is very familiar, and this chart is the most talked about in your house. This is gold. The gold prices went up, see how, in the last 5 years, from 600 to almost 1800 US dollars. Why? Because of quantitative easing. Because they pump the money, they keep pumping the money, the gold moves up, the stock market moves up. What is the impact of this? At the end, with this money, with this gold going up and stock market going up, you have inflation. The inflation, when the inflation expectations comes, they eat your savings, whatever you earn. So what happens? Dollar loses value. This is US dollar. The currency loses value. See how this is all interrelated. You have to understand this to know the impact on rupee. Now you see this is the 5 years dollar rate against the euro. The dollar trend is trying to go up, then again comes down, go up, then again comes down, go up, then again comes down. Why? Because of the phenomena I just shown you. The stock market going up, the gold is going up, because huge money inside the economy, the inflation expectations comes up and the dollar loses the value. This is in general. There are other more reasons for that, but these are the major reasons. Now here we are here, Indian economy. Now this is the scenario from the last 5 years, Indian economy. Now one more thing I would like to add up here. When there was huge liquidity in the world economy and the global economy, the same thing Europe was also doing. Europe economy was bad. They were also pumping the more money in the system. Japanese economy was very bad. They were also pumping the more money in the system. So with all this money, there was no returns. So where was the returns? Returns was in Indian market, Chinese market and some Southeast Asia market. So all the hot money started flowing in the Indian economy and the Chinese economy. So Chinese economy and Indian economy, stock market started going up. So all the liquidity they came that side. Okay, now Indian, normally this is how an economy works. This is the Indian economy. When economy starts taking off, because of the economy taking off, the import rises. In economy start to eat more from outside, a lot of requirements. Then the deficit of the trade account happens, then pressure on current account, then interest rate goes up, economy slows down, current account corrects, then again, this is a cycle. Exactly now at this point of time, Indian economy is in between these two. Okay, so how this affected the Indian economy, the whole global system, the pumping, the QE2 and all the liquidity. And the first thing, this is specific India's problem, but it multiplied because of the global economy later. India's industrial production started losing, you can see from here till 2004, 6, till 7, 8. There was a big crash in the American economy and all these things. So Indian economy also got a big hit. After that, the industrial production. The industrial production is the engine of a growth of an economy. If your industry is not producing, that means your economy is not working fine. Something wrong with your economy. So that was the Indian economy. It has a problem in 2008 and the industrial production collapsed here. Then somehow it went up, then again came down, but the trend keep coming down. So industrial production was coming down. The Indian economy was booming earlier, now it slowed down, the industrial production slowed down. At the same time, we had a dual problem. Our import was rising. When import rises, what is the impact on the economy? That your currency value, your currency demand become less and the foreign currency demand becomes more. So the maximum you keep importing, you have to pay more dollar. So in India, they will be requiring more dollar, and they will just require more dollar. So when people will start buying dollars, they will sell rupee against dollar. So one impact is the rupee loses value. But at the same time, your industrial production is going down and you are importing more. Why this? the import is going down. The biggest problem for the Indian imports and the deficit is the next slide, which our ladies will not like to see this, is the gold problem. Indians love gold. You can see this. This is the gold demand and where India stands. This is the 2013 second quarter gold imports in India, the gold demands, more than 300 million tons. Imagine, only in second quarter, 3 months, 300 million tons. 2012, they had 1,000 tons all over there plus. China India is so big economy. See how much China and US and all rest of the economy, and see where India stands. You know, the India, in terms of gold is regarded as a useless instrument or a commodity as far as investment is concerned. From an economic perspective. Why? If you invest money, your own money in the gold, like a 1 lakh rupees in the gold, is like putting 1 lakh rupee under the mattress, because this is not going to help the economy. Why? Because all the golds are produced outside of India. We have to import. If the gold is inside India and we can mine it and drag it, then we can understand, okay, buy gold, so the mining industry and rest of the economy will work. But this is not the case. We have to import all the gold from outside. And from an estimates how much an Indian invest in gold is 3% of his annual salary. Okay, every Indian buys gold, 3% of his annual salary, plus every Indians have their saving, 10% of the saving in gold. Whatever saving they have, some have real estate, some have cash, some have shares, some have gold. So every Indian, they have 10% minimum in gold. Now imagine this investment in gold is from economic perspective is useless for us, and compared to the American economy, the American household, they are 10 times less than what an Indian household invests in gold. So imagine the difference between our demand and our love for the gold. And what the American, because they invest their money in productive assets like stocks, like other stuff, but not in gold. So this is killing the Indian economy now, right now. And why our imports are going? See, again, the gold demand. This is some figures I am just putting it in first 3 months of 2013. What happened? 256 million tons gold we imported. In quarter 2012, it was just 200 million tons. This is, I am talking about in tons, the size. And forget about at what rate. The gold is going up and you are paying higher money for that. This is one of the major reason. And see here, your deficit is going up and up, negative, and gold import is going up and up and up and up. Gold import is not stopping. So it is giving a big pressure on the balance of payment of India. That means what? It is natural that there is a huge demand for foreign currency and there is a huge supply of your Indian currency because of the deficit and then inflation and other stuff. So this one slide says all. This is the gold imports which is going up and up, and this is my trade surplus, how much I export and how much I import. So import is more than your export, that's why it is going negative. You can see here negative signs. Now it's almost 90 billion US dollars deficit India is facing. And we don't have the money to protect this deficit. See how much India is having a deficit. US is having a 473, UK 106, India 98 billion US dollar. Now imagine US as per its US size, but at the same time they can manage this because the world is investing in US. Everybody is putting their money, so they can manage. But see India, more than Canada and more than Australia, we are facing this deficit. This is a big problem to India now. This is one of the reason, not one of the reason, it's a major reason why rupee is crashing. And it's going up and up, it's not coming back. Now, another thing is India's GDP. Our industrial production and the economy is taking the toll on the GDP. The GDP growth is just simply coming down and down and down and down till date. There is no reversal till now. And the final blow. What is this final blow? I will take little time here to tell you. All the world investors, all the big money and the investors, they have a policy. All the banks, or a bank in Kuwait wants to invest in India, they have a policy. What they see the rating of a country, and there are rating agencies, S&P and Moody's and Fitch. They are namely the major ones. They rate a country. How they rate a country? Like this: AAA rated, double A minus, A, B plus B. Now this, it has a slab like prime, like lower investment, and like lowest, and then non-investment grade. So each and every bank and each and every investment houses, they have this policy that they will not invest in that country which is lower than investment grade. So now what happened? Because of this deficit, because of this industrial production going down, so the people, the investors, the FFIs, those who are investing in Indian money, the stock market and all these things, the hot money was coming. Now suddenly what happened? The S&P downgraded India to B minus. B minus is, this is India's rating, triple B minus here. Now one notch down is non-investment. If I am in a bank and I want to invest in India, when I will see this non-investment, I will say, Ma salama, thank you very much. I don't want to invest my money in India. And this is exactly what the investors are doing. When they saw this grading coming down and touching the border line, they are on the border line. One grade down will just click a trigger, all the money of the FFIs will go out of India. Now not all the money, already most of the money, they are already started taking the money out because of this final blow. Now we had this industrial problem, we had this deficit problem, we had this gold problem. Now the final blow came from the rating agency when they saw the Chidambaram is not doing anything. You may have seen the news that Chidambaram went to US and met the S&P team and the rating agencies team, trying to explain them not to downgrade India, because he knows once they downgrade India, the hot money will also go. And he's asking for FDI, like IKEA and others come in India, we'll give you everything, invest in India, because India need foreign currency FDIs. Now this is the final blow what happened to the rupee. After this rating downgrade, see what happened. In 2013 in India, more than 9 billion money went out of India. Simply, more than 9 billion money went out of India because of this rating changes. And in fact, in Pakistan and Japan, see what happened to them. These are some of the figures which tells the story. When people take money out of India, what they do? They take dollar, they convert rupee into dollar. So what happened? The natural thing is sell rupee, buy dollar. So the dollar is in demand and rupee is going down and down. So the pressure comes on rupee. And at the end, when this rating, all these things happen, the business confidence of India, this is the chart of business confidence. This is India's 300 top-notch companies. They rate India's confidence, that how good is India to do investment and how bad and all these things. And it has a rating. This chart is being made by CII, Confederation of Indian Industry. They released this chart. See what happened to the confidence in India, the business confidence. Till date, it is at the lowest. Nobody wants to do business in India. It's almost, the confidence is crashing. That's why the impact on rupee. Then at the end, this is natural recipe for a disaster. What just now we saw all these things is a natural recipe for a disaster for the rupee to crash. And those who were smart, they already went much earlier. They were not waiting for rupee to come 69. They already went at 50 and 48 levels, you know. So the panic came in and the rupee touched 69. Now let me give you the final the firefighting done by Indian government and the finance ministry and Manmohan Singh. This red line is the Indian exchange rate, the rupee rate. Rupee came from all the way from 54 here from the last 4 months, okay, till here. Now what the Indian government did the action, just now what we talked, they will confirm it here. On this one, what they did, gold import duty raised from 6% to 8%, because they know the gold is impacting rupee. So what they did, they raised the duty. Anybody importing gold in India, they will charge them extra duty now. At this point, there is the duty. Now, at this point, somewhere in the mid-July, see what RBI did. RBI restricts gold import and tightens domestic liquidity. Again, RBI also take action for the gold import. Again, at this level, slew of measures, all see, capital inflows, gold curve further. On this 4th, here, again, they made some more decision to stop the import of gold and to make it harder for the people to import the gold. Now, last here recent, very recent, you may have seen duty-free import of flat screen TV, that is LCDs, by airline passenger is banned. Now, you guys, anybody of you can't take LCD with you in the airplane, they will stop you there on the airport, and it is banned, totally banned. Why this? Because they want to protect the imports. They want to stop the imports. So the deficit what we saw will go up. So that's the way the rupee had a pressure on it. And the conclusion, the present economy, basically India is not that bad. The Indian economy is not that bad also. But the monetary economic system is responsible for the mess. Now you imagine a situation, the paper money of India, okay, an exchange rate dollar. This exchange rate is responsible for all your economy. If the exchange rate today goes up or goes down or drastically moves here and there, either your economy will be messed up or your economy will be boosted. All they do, like we saw the Federal Reserve, what they do, they put a lot of money in the market to pump the stock market, and the stock market was keep moving up, and the GDP is going down and the economy is going down. This is unnatural. And what happened? The gold went up. Because why? It's speculative assets. People will put their money in the gold and gold will go up. Exactly that happened. It's not like this, that gold demand came up or the production went down, that's why gold prices up. It's all the quantitative easing, it took the whole thing up. Now, this is the monetary economics, because why? They manages the whole economical system through interest rate, through money supply, and all such type of things. This is called the paper economy. It's a paper economy. It's not a real economy. You know, almost 8 years back happened with Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand. Malaysia is a very strong economy. But what happened with their currency rate? They messed up with their currency. So what happened? The whole economy almost collapsed. But somehow they managed with their currency, and the whole economy is booming. But others couldn't manage, so they almost it was like a chaotic situation. So this is called the paper economics. So it has to be something real economy. Now let me touch the base here. The real economy can perform best. Real economy can perform best theoretically, but worthless paper can destroy it. If today, imagine Indian economy is booming, everything is booming, there is a production, blah blah, everything, and I will set a rate. Either I am a central bank or I am a Federal Reserve, whosoever, just for, or some big investors. I will set the rate, like from 69, I will suddenly say 100. The economy is one side, and I am telling the dollar rupee rate will be 100 rupees. You know, like from per KD 230, I will say 400 per KD. And this is just a rate, but the economy is something different, quite different going on. It has an impact on that, you know. But the major thing is this is a speculative economy. When the monetary economy comes, it becomes nowadays more speculative, more hot, and it's very, very out of way from the real economy. Now, world is talking about what? See, it's a good thing for us also, for being a Muslim. The world is talking about to move from this paper economy to an economy which really had some assets-backed securities, or which really had some assets to support that value of that rupee. Now this value of the rupee is 69. Can anybody, even the Central Bank of India or the Central Bank of America, they cannot tell that what worth of this currency is. They can make just guesswork from interest rate, from other stuff and all these things, but nobody can derive at a real worth of a currency, the intrinsic value of a currency. That's why in Islamic principle, the currency doesn't have any value. You cannot trade currency of its own. this is haram, this is not permissible, you know, in Islamic economic. It has to be supported by a real tangible assets or a worth of it, which is why the world is talking about Islamic finance and Islamic economic system now. They are looking very closely. They are thinking that this system is something good which will support us, which will protect us from this broader speculative economy. And there is a good chance for us also, being a Muslim, we have to bring the Sharia principles and the economical system, the Islamic economical system on the table and show it to the world. So that's the key takeaways from my side, and that's where the rupee got crashed. I think we already made a point, we already saw what happened with rupee. And finally, I will tell you, a lot of people were asking me before the presentation, and I think before you ask me the question, I will touch the base quickly. We expect the rupee to remain somewhere here till the elections. Till the Indian elections happen, then some confidence comebacks. So that's where, so I guess nobody will ask me any question that where the rupee will head from now, from here. Thank you very much for listening, and if you have any questions, please go ahead. Thank you very much.
Jazakallah khair, Janab Muhammad Hassan, for enlightening us about the current state of Indian economy. Unfortunately, we've run short of time and will not have the question and answer session. And with this, I would like to conclude the program with a request to all of you to join in our efforts and strengthen our activities in reforming the society and elevating the status of our community.